Our top story tonight, some going down in November.
Wars, spending.
There has got to be something big a-brewing.
They're using geese to guard prisons in Brazil.
Does Biden know what
Immigration
Mexico
policies.
is? Would you scare Joe Biden? What are we laughing at?
I think Billy Mays was real.
I'm a world-class skeptic.
I don't know anything about Hunter Biden. I don't know who's big into cocaine and laptops. Why is that our problem? Complete, absolute incompetence.
Like, who funds the news?
It's a freaking inside job, man. That the entire world's a stage and everything's fake.
I usually try to start this off with a little fun thing that I've written, but this week NBC did it for me.
All right.
And
Let's
so
hear it. Let's hear it.
there are social problems going on within the Taliban, and we're concerned about that. We're very concerned about the young women in the Taliban. The title of the article is Rifts Growing in the Taliban Over the Ban on Girls' Schooling. One senior official left Afghanistan after speaking out against the ban, which has denied education to more than 2 million girls since the Taliban returned to power. The social issues in the Taliban are important.
Yeah, I'm worried about that. I didn't know that there were girls in the Taliban.
Me either.
That is some progressive,
Yeah.
forward-thinking.
I feel like we should be congratulating them, honestly.
Yeah, I know. Shouldn't the Ilhan Omars and the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Hernandez or whatever her name is, even though she's from New York, she acts like she's Mexican.
Right.
Anyway, shouldn't she be like, they'd be all over that. They'd be pro-Taliban, aren't they?
I mean, yeah, you'd think so. They're letting girls in now. Like, it seems like they're headed in the right direction. We should be supporting this.
Does the Taliban give like scholarships? Be like, hey, you've done so well at your Muslim this and that. At your Sunni and your Shiite this.
Right.
So you can come to the Taliban. We're giving you $50,000.
We're going to sponsor your membership to the
Yeah.
Taliban.
I feel like that's a thing. Taliban Incorporated hands out scholarships. They write them off on their.
Are these scholarships for school, or are they sponsoring your Is it like a country club where somebody's like sponsoring your membership so you don't have to pay to be in the Taliban?
But wouldn't
you know?
their school be jihad indoctrination? So yes and yes. It's like their schooling is their social thing.
I see.
Jihad, it's all wrapped up into one.
Right.
And if I were to summarize jihad, it would be, hey, here's a bomb. Go blow this up. That's what they tell us jihad is, right?
It is, yeah.
And then
Which is probably not true, but that's what they tell us it is.
And then you get like, isn't it the virgin? Is jihad the
72 virgins?
Is that jihad?
I think that's suicide. I don't know.
What's the difference in jihadism and kamikaze?
Kamikaze's Japanese.
Yeah, but one's with the virgins and one's without. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there are versions associated with kamikaze pilots
That's
at
what
all.
I'm asking then. That's what I'm asking. So we.
It's definitely jihad then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Taliban, we love you.
I just find this so interesting that's a point of interest for NBC.
What's the point of the article though? Is it pro-Taliban or bad Taliban?
I don't know. Let's read a little bit more. As religious police patrol large parts of the country to ensure that rules are enforced, the restrictions have become so repressive that some senior members of the militant group have called for them to be rolled back in recent months. 3 Taliban officials told NBC News. I guess they have a good relationship.
Whoa, dude. So NBC is now part of the Taliban.
Or vice versa.
They're betraying us.
Yeah.
Openly talking to the people that did 9/11.
Right.
And no one cares?
What would Toby Keith say?
Yeah, what does GW think about this?
Let's give him a call.
Let's invade NBC. Operation NBC.
Capital. We're going to NBC.
That's right.
Storm NBC.
Oh
Which agreed not to identify them so they could speak candidly. What Taliban officials are worried about being identified so that they can speak their mind?
I bet Lester Holt. I mean, Lester Holt's brown, dude. He's probably a double agent.
What is your problem with Lester Holt?
Well, he looks like he could be in the Taliban.
No,
he
he
put a
just
hood on.
looks like a normal black guy.
If he grew a beard, wore a black hood, and started singing la 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 la, you'd think he's Taliban.
He's way too large. He's too physically large for that.
I don't know about that.
He is not a small man. It doesn't look like.
I think we've discovered the candidness of who they're talking to. But all right, keep going.
All 3 of them said there was a growing divide between ultra-conservative Taliban members in the southern city of Kandahar.
We know about
Speaking
that
of
place.
giants,
Yep.
where the group's supreme leader, oh, wow, that's a fun name, If I'm ever a dictator, that's the name I would pick. I'd pick supreme leader. What would you pick if you were going to be a dictator? What would your name be?
I would be the sovereign czar of New Russia.
I might go with Der Fuhrer, supreme leader Der Fuhrer. Is that how it's said? Der Fuhrer. I don't know how to say that.
I mean, nobody can touch the works of the Fuhrer, so I think that title is off.
So, where the supreme leader, Haibatullah Akhundzada, lives.
You nailed that.
And more moderate members from the city Kabul. The three officials have been affiliated with more hardline wings of the Taliban, but they said their thinking on girls' education differed, adding that it had been a mistake to bar them from going to school. So these are progressive elements of the Taliban who are trying to promote women's education. So I guess we're pro Taliban now.
Yeah, that's crazy how this social justice hasn't even invaded the Taliban. That's how gone this world is.
Right. Are there? We're gonna have trans Taliban members next?
Dude, that'll be a 2028 article from freaking HuffPost, man. Trans equality in the modern day Taliban. How we're fighting for Al Qaeda's, gay, lesbian, Indian people in Al Qaeda. That's coming.
Honestly, I would not be surprised to see that in 2028. Yeah.
Yeah.
You make a good point.
I bet somebody from New York's 6th congressional district will run just as an openly Taliban member in the 2028 congressional.
Maybe that'll be a new party. You know how the Libertarian Party's starting to grow. We have the Taliban Party here. I don't know what their views would be. I guess women's education. That could be the platform they run on. Let's educate women because we're the Taliban and we're progressive now.
About jihad. Yeah, we've beaten this to death.
I was just so shocked to see that on NBC.
Nothing shocks me anymore, dude.
But it's strange the way that the left wing politics have begun to, well, not begun. They have, I guess, more and more over the past decade, adopt defending people who were historically American enemies. You know?
Yeah.
I find that so strange.
Yeah, to be serious for a moment, that's really happened in the opposition to Israel.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah,
the far right and the far left have united in this kind of weird circle against Israel.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting thing that's going on.
It's very odd.
I don't know.
And I mean, there was all that there were anti-Semitic liberals at some colleges.
No,
which seems so backwards. Based on traditional, what you would think of as traditional American values. I'm not saying,
I don't know. It's as I say all the time, Tennessee and Auburn uniting to fight against Alabama is what that is.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So you said you had an idea to pitch to me.
Oh, yeah. It has nothing to do with
the Taliban,
politics, the Taliban, anything. Just I was thinking maybe we could just ask each other random questions, just to help the audience get to know us.
Okay.
And
do you think that should be a segment every week?
Yeah, and by random I mean I was thinking when was the last time you gargled a liquid? Doesn't have to be water. Doesn't have to be anything. Just what was the last? Well, I wasn't thinking that.
You had to know that was going to be my first thought.
I was just thinking that could be a fun little thing.
All right.
Just to get an insight into each other's lives, and we can just ask one random question.
Okay.
And then just move on.
And then we'll just one of us will pick it out every week.
Yeah. Like you ask me a random question, I ask you a random question, and then we go on.
I like that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Are we doing that now?
Well, you can. You took it sexual, and I didn't really know how to respond to that. I should have seen that coming.
You should have. I'm surprised.
But that was my
didn't.
question. When was the last time you have gargled a liquid?
The last time I gargled a liquid would have been when I had mono, my second senior year of college.
You've had 6 of those.
Yeah.
So. All right, fair.
Yeah. So around 2018, 2019.
All right.
I had mono. My throat was horrifically sore. I thought I was going to die, and so I was gargling salt water from time to time so that I could it hurt so much to swallow. I was taking clove oil on the daily. It was painful to eat, to drink. It was terrible. So I was gargling on a regular basis.
All right.
I've never gargled cum, just in case you're curious.
I'm glad. But
I'll be prepared next week. For that.
honestly, I don't know.
Oh.
Probably like when I was like 16 or something.
Wow, that's a long time to go without gargling.
Yeah, I mean, I could gargle this beer.
Do you want
live
to?
for everyone?
Live on there
Yeah.
right now? I want to hear it. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
okay,
Right? Do it
okay,
into the
okay.
mic. Yeah, let's listen. This is
Wait,
beer
I'm-
gargling,
I,
ladies
dude,
and
I'm not
gentlemen.
gonna do it in the mic.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money on this. I
Right.
built a suite.
Just gargle near the mic. All right, there it was Murph gargling.
I just about threw
Um,
it up. It took in a lot of air. Okay. So the last time I gargled a liquid was 10 seconds ago.
Nice. All right, that was a good time.
Yeah, I just thought that was.
Do you have an idea for a name for that segment?
No, that's
Okay.
your idea, and I'm sure it'll be sexual in nature.
Probably will be, but it's fine. It's fine. All right, you got an article for us, bud?
Me?
Yeah.
Am
No,
I
who
going
f-
first?
the
I mean,
I went first. I
What?
talked about this article.
Okay, you weren't. I couldn't tell if you were looking at me because you're aviators.
Oh,
I mean, rest
right.
in peace, Iceman.
R.I.P.
But you could also apply to John to pull up the articles.
Ah, that's
so
true.
I was confused.
Ah,
But I don't have the articles for you, so I thought the context was
Yeah,
pretty
here,
clear who he
pull
was
up-
talking to.
Pull
thank
up,
you, John.
Pull up the first one. All right, pull up the first one here. And seriously, rest in peace to Val Kilmer. Everybody watched Tombstone, Top Gun.
Great actor.
Yeah.
Better than I thought. I made fun of him because I thought he was. Yeah, I shouldn't have made fun of Val Kilmer so much.
I
Good
haven't
actor.
seen his Batman movies, but I should watch them.
He was in Willow, one of the least talked about George Lucas films.
Yeah, they've remade that into like a TV series.
I heard it sucked.
Yeah, I did too.
The movie was great. It had Warwick Davis and Val Kilmer, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's really good. My brother's a big fan, so don't let that put you off of watching it.
All right.
I saw.
So look at
I saw
this.
this.
Look at this. Dodge or Doge. I always want to say Dodge.
There's
but
no D.
I know there's no D, but
So.
I'm so used to Dodge Ram. I just want to say Dodge.
Bram tough.
That's right, built.
That's built for tough, but
Well, whatever.
good effort. Take life
Um,
by the horns.
That's whatever they say.
Grab life by the dick.
Doge, doggies, attack on Social Security. They want us to feel bad for Social Security, man. The chaos that Doge is causing on Social Security. Like, think of all the people that are losing their jobs. Think of all the
Right.
trouble that they're going to every morning at the copier when they, run around just printing their Social Security numbers or whatever
Yeah,
the
yeah.
heck they do there. Like, Elon Musk might cost them their job. That
Oh,
is
no.
so scary.
It's terrible.
Think of all the lesbian black people that work for Social Security that might be out on the streets because of trimming the government.
I know.
It's just not ridiculous.
There are going to be probably just so many queer, gendered, trans, two-spirit people who don't have jobs anymore, and I find that abhorrent.
I just thought this was absolutely insane. The level of they are literally painting a gigantic corporate arm of the government,
Yeah.
the Social Security Administration, as victims, and the reader
Right.
wants you to feel sorry for these people that take a butt ton of your money out of your taxes.
Yeah.
Okay, every single paycheck, not every month, every paycheck, twice a month.
Right.
I'm losing. I haven't looked at my freaking pay stub in a while, but I'm probably losing $400 a month to these bastards, and I ain't ever going to see it.
Oh, I'm losing like $600 a month minimum
Yeah.
to Social Security.
Well, there's FICA and there's all this other stuff.
Yeah.
They all, but who? I mean, but they want you to feel sorry that Elon's going after them.
It's just
That they might lose
completely retarded.
7,000. Like, it's just this is like Pavlovian conditioning, Stockholm syndrome at its finest. To feel sorry for the people that are abusing you.
So that is the theme of the article. Is like, hey, this is bad. He's
Right.
causing chaos in Social Security. Are you
right?
kidding me?
Yeah.
Because from the people I've listened to, what they've been doing is going through and cutting useless jobs. Because I think everyone is aware there are of useless jobs in the government. But B, finding Social Security payments that are going out to dead people. People who are 160 and still drawing Social Security, or people who are not even from haven't even paid in. That's
Yeah.
conceptually what they're doing over there. I don't see a way you can paint that in a negative light and be reasonable about
Here's
it.
well, there's your key word right there. Every bit of that was numbers, reasonableness, logic. Look at this though.
What?
Elon's going to send the agency into a death spiral.
Oh,
according to all the
no.
Workers. It's the emotion. It's the emotional appeal of all it. And I just don't even see how that works. You have to be gone
Yeah.
to get emotional about Social Security workers losing their jobs.
Oh my God! While expensive and challenged by an aging population, Social Security remains overwhelmingly popular with America. Who cares if it's popular? It doesn't do jack shit. There aren't any old people who are exactly living comfortably off of just Social Security most places.
Oh, no.
It's f***ing retarded.
I also want to point out they spelled aging wrong.
They did.
Aging does not have an E.
I think it does.
No, it doesn't. I just looked it up.
You looked it up?
Yep,
Okay.
It does not have an E.
All right,
It
well,
is
they should have checked that.
A-G-I-N-G.
Well, who wrote this? Are we going to call him out? Is it a Stein?
Yeah, let's find out.
It's got to be a Stein or a Bird,
It's
right?
probably at the bottom.
All right, well,
It's,
we'll
they
send her
wrote
an
way
email.
too much. I don't know. They
send
wrote
her an
way too
email.
much.
All right, anyway.
This plays into. So John and I went to Kill Tony last night, and there was a guy who was one of the comedians they called up, and he was pissed because he's getting paid for 7 months to do nothing right now, and at the end of that 7 months he's getting fired because he's one of the government employees that's getting cut, and he tried to paint himself as this victim. It's like, dude, you were working remotely, doing nothing at your house
Working for the government,
for the government. Yeah.
right?
Conceptually, taxpayers are paying your wage to do jack from your home.
Exactly. They're
If you're doing something, great. It sucks that you lost your job, bro. But otherwise, who cares? I'm sorry. Like, that's a pain in the ass. You got 7 months to go out and find another job in the job market, though. It's probably going to be a but I'm sure you can do it. But calm the down.
Well,
You're
they're
not a
doing-
victim here.
Yeah, they're doing this bait and switch where they're like, "Oh, you're losing your job," as if all jobs are the same. Well, your job is literally leeching off the taxpayer.
Yeah.
It's not like you're working for some company that produces this thing and people are buying it. No,
Right.
your job comes from forced, it's theft,
Yeah.
Both the libertarians.
Well, and this is another issue is the fact that people want to play up the emotional side of this issue.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, people are losing their jobs, right? But they don't talk about the flip side of the fact that these people losing their jobs mean that this broke-ass dad who's working his butt off might have another $100 in his paycheck to buy food for his family. That's not what these people want to talk about. They want you to be worried about the fact that, oh my gosh, 7,000 employees at Social Security but how much is that trimming from the Social Security budget, right? That conceptually should be put back in Americans' pockets. They make it sound so utterly emotional, and at the end of the day, you can't think about things like that in an emotional context. It's a business, period.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you can't let that affect the way you think. Unfortunately, like it kind of sucks that you can't be as emotional about it, but you can't.
yeah.
It's just the way it is.
It's simply crazy to me, just the fact that they were literally trying to make you feel sorry for a gigantic corporation that
Yeah.
robs everyone blind every hour of every day.
Especially a corporation that's slowly dying anyway. Like
Yeah.
it feels like every other week something's coming out about Social Security. It's not going to be available to people under this age. They're going to raise the age to draw
Right.
Social Security next year. It's not going to be available if you're under the age
Right.
of 25. It's
Yeah.
already on its way out.
Yeah, and this article you can read here, but the agency has been dubbed a Ponzi scheme by Elon Musk. It's not dubbed that. That's what it is. It is taking money from one group of people
Yeah.
to pay off a investment to another group of people.
Right.
It is a literal worse than a Ponzi scheme because it's all done by force, but it is a Ponzi scheme. That is how a Ponzi scheme works. Is you
Mhm.
take investments to pay off other investors
And the
and
problem
generate no return.
and the problem
Terrible.
an even worse problem. You're right, John. But an even worse problem is there's not an equal population. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's less Gen Zers than there are millennials. There's less millennials than there are Gen X. So the baby
Yeah.
it's just going to die out.
Yeah. People are.
It's worse than a Ponzi scheme because there's not an equal amount of people to replace the money going in.
I mean, that's one of the things they'll talk about in high school economics is like, hey, Social Security, if it were ever going to work, should not have begun to pay out immediately.
Yeah.
Right? The inception of Social Security meant people could start drawing Social Security. That's not the way it needs to work.
Well, let's be real. The inception of Social Security was to steal everybody's gold.
Sure.
But operating under this Keynesian framework anyway, it's
Yeah.
just going to fail. It's literally a worse Ponzi scheme than whatever the heck Bernie made off. It's worse than that, and it's about 400 billion times bigger. What you gonna
Fair
do?
enough. Yeah, that's wild. I can't believe people are trying to be pissed about that. That blows my mind.
Well, it's programming. I doubt many people are, unless in like the dredges of New York City or Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also the same they pulled off back in 2020. It's like you got to care about the old people, right? This
Right.
is hurting the old people, but in reality, it's actually hurting the working class who are
hurting the working man,
getting money
the middle
stolen
class.
from them and transferred to a generation that is objectively better off than they are.
Yeah.
By all objective standards.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good point, John. That is a very good point. Yeah, all these people who want to about how the younger generations don't want to work. We're working, you sons of bitches. It just doesn't go as far as it did in your day. I worked like 55 hours last week.
Yeah, but that gets into the Fed, and we don't need to rant about that.
Well, I mean, what's a Veritas Road episode without a good Fed rant, you know?
That's right. Jekyll Island, baby. Look it up.
Jeez.
What do you got?
All
It's
right.
your turn.
Moving on. This is another one that's going to get me riled up. Apparently, RFK went to Texas because there was a measles outbreak among you-know-what children.
Oh.
And a kid died, which is sad. That is sad. But this whole article is just pointing fingers at people who choose not to do that
Yeah.
and saying, hey, they're the problem. But here's the operative word here. Underlying health conditions. People don't die of the measles. They don't die of mumps. They don't die of any of these childhood diseases that people want to freak out about. They die because they're horrifically unhealthy.
Yep.
And the thing you're not seeing is that MMR jab up there. What are the consequences of that? How many kids have died as a result of that, or suffered neurodegenerative disorders as a result of that? That's not discussed.
Of course not.
And now CNN's putting out this article, fear-mongering and pointing fingers because a kid, and it is sad that a kid died. I'm not debating that fact, but it's just, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, we got no context into what that kid ate, what his parents ate, what his,
What his social life was
right.
like, how many antibiotics he's had,
Right.
like anything.
their exercise, how much time they spend outside, all
Right.
this stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all fear-mongering, okay? I'm sure if you were looking to CNN shareholders, Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, they all own huge chunks of companies that own chunks of CNN. It's just a gigantic spider web of death,
Right.
all right? Like, all this is fear-based emotional outrage as to, oh, you didn't do this, and some kid died from it.
Yeah.
When literally every situation is different. Okay, to lump all that in together is insanity.
That's generalization.
On
You're
number
right.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, number two, if you look, even the idea that you can get this thing called measles from breathing the air or like touching like a dirty toilet or something, even that idea is completely unfounded. Okay, germ theory started by this guy who, as you know, as we covered in our episode 33, literally worships Satan. So look into terrain theory as an alternative to explain why people get sick.
It's true.
Okay, so the idea that you can even catch this is still up in the air. Okay, so it's just nonsense.
Yeah, and another big thing I want to add, we also have no idea into what this kid's medical care was.
Right.
'Cause you look, and this was a big thing in the you-know-what in 2020,
Right.
is just overly aggressive treatment to
Yeah.
a disease that literally killed people. So that is just a massive thing in the medical industry right now, is like, how are these people being treated?
Right. Well, and to top it off, like there's no control group, really, right? You want to talk about whether or not a particular intervention works, in this case, a jab. There's no control group to run off of. And also, like, how many kids, and this is sad, but how many kids die of that every year anyway? Like, there's no comparison. They could have just decided to write this article based off of statistics that literally occur. It's the same thing that happened last year, but we don't know. We're not privy to that information. And so it's just absurd that they try to present this claim with absolutely no hard evidence, yet people will still read this and panic.
Well, that's because it's low vibrational appeal, right? It's the same. It's no different than the last thing we just looked at. It's emotional appeal versus logical appeal. You get children involved, children dies. That's like, oh, children shouldn't die. You get mad and sad,
Yeah.
and they just give you your reason, and your logical brain is bypassed because it's sad and angry that the children. It's psychological manipulation is what it is,
For sure.
and it comes down to your trust of these people, right? And if you don't objectively analyze as to why or why not you trust CNN or whoever the heck or whatever Bergerstein wrote this. If you don't analyze why you trust these people, then you're just going to be led to and fro by the winds of whatever propaganda comes your way.
Yeah, and not to harp on this, I'm sorry, but there's another line in here. It's important to note that he wasn't jabbed, but B. Oh, no, that's not what I was reading. The child was receiving treatment for complications of the disease. Complications of. So not the disease. The disease was not what caused the problem. It was complications of the disease while hospitalized.
Yeah, that goes back.
That
to the
will
point I
go.
made.
Yeah, that speaks specifically to your point, John. Insofar as if you're dealing with any particular health condition, the hospital just doesn't seem like the place to go. They'll invent your ass and kill you.
Look,
You'll get and where is look into where staph and MRSA are most prevalent.
yeah.
You're not getting those hanging out in your house. You're getting those at the hospital, and maybe at a gym, sure, but like you're getting those at the hospital.
Look,
Period.
yeah. If you chop off your hand with the chainsaw, go to the hospital.
Right.
But if you got a cold, maybe don't. Maybe don't. Okay.
Yeah, this is not medical advice. We're not doctors, but just two guys ranting. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're all fine.
Yeah. I mean, the purpose of that article is to divide people, get them riled up.
It got me riled up.
Yeah.
So I guess, insofar as that was the goal, it worked.
Yeah. All right. What else? Let's go to mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I can't go on the V word too long. All right, look at this. This is hilarious.
What?
This is an absolute A++. And, I know we insult Marco Rubio all the time, but how great of an idea is this for political prowess? So right now, everybody following March Madness, Florida is playing Duke in the national championship.
Well, let's read the headline first. March Madness could be deported as Marco Rubio confirms plans to revoke visa.
Marco Rubio is a senator from Florida. So Florida is playing Duke in the national championship, okay? And I'm rooting for Duke because I'm a Vols fan. I absolutely hate Florida. Sucks that Auburn lost, okay? Screw Florida. But how great of an idea is this? You want to get votes? Be like, all right, Duke, your star player, we're going to get him out of here. So this is brilliant work by Marco Rubio, even though I hate Florida, and I will be supporting this South Sudan gentleman. He's not even Mexican. So how can they do this?
Well, we don't just support Mexicans.
Well,
it's people from
That's what they say.
any ethnicity.
That's what they say. It's like, oh,
People from any country.
the Republicans hate Mexicans, but this guy's from South Sudan.
Is he here illegally?
I
mean, I guess
No,
that would be the
he's-
assumption.
He's
but-
on a student visa.
well, then how can he revoke that? Just revoke that.
because
You can
because-
revoke visas pretty
Just
easily,
cause?
for the most part.
Damn.
just
All right.
because he don't want him to play against Florida in the national championship. It's brilliant.
That's hilarious.
Brilliant political strategy by Marco Rubio, who I hate, by the way, and I also hate Florida, but I do acknowledge how big this is.
That is brilliant. It's brilliant. Just deport those sons of.
Probably got him a lot of votes in Gainesville today in
Yeah.
his next whatever he tries to do
And
next.
he's
probably
the
did.
Secretary of State. He's not getting voted for anything. But
Didn't
Well,
he used to
John,
be a
just way to
senator from
rain on our
Florida?
parade.
that's what he was.
Well,
before
he'll
that.
go back after Trump's done, if Trump is ever done. Once Barron takes over, I'm sure Marco Rubio will go
Son of a
back
bitch.
to being a senator from Florida, and he's just got himself some votes here.
Hey, I mean, that was the place to go during the Rona, so I support it. Fully support it.
Yeah, well, he's a neocon, warmongering gaywad, but
All right. That was okay.
yeah. All right, that was mine.
Damn.
Brilliant political move by Marco Rubio's staff coming out.
Hats off to Marco Rubio. Thank you, sir.
And but go Duke. Good. We want Duke to win.
What do you mean we? Maybe I'm rooting for Florida.
Well, that's a good way to get your balls chopped off around here.
I don't pay attention to
Yeah.
sports.
What do you got?
So I thought we were done with this nonsense, but apparently there was a trans woman or a trans. I don't understand which is which, but a trans woman was arrested in the Florida Capitol for using a women's restroom.
Okay. So does that mean a man
That means a
who
man,
got their dingling
somebody
chopped?
with no, it may have just said it was trans. So like
Well, how is that trans? I thought that'd be cross-dressing.
no, it is. Technically, in my opinion, you're correct. But people can just identify as trans now. They can just be like, hey, I'm trans.
I thought trans means you got your balls chopped off.
Not necessarily.
Well,
That's someone who has transitioned.
So that's like a mega trans? Like, there's got to be some differentiating and commitment to that.
It's like, I'm trying to think of a good example. If I'm driving to pick a place, give me a location in the United States, a city.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
If I'm driving to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? I can be on the road to Milwaukee, but I'm not all the way there, right?
Okay.
And so they're on the road there. They're going to Milwaukee, but they're not in Milwaukee yet. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. But they're still identifying as somebody who's from Milwaukee.
Well, that's dumb.
They're moving there, but they're like, I'm from Milwaukee.
I didn't quite follow that because
It wasn't great.
I think I kind of get the point.
Did you understand the the point I was trying to make?
Yeah, but they have mile markers on the interstate for a reason. You are not to Milwaukee, okay? So you're not trans. You might be TR, maybe you're TRA, but you got to get your balls chopped off to be trans. It's just like a game of horse. You got to go all the way. You got to get those letters.
It's just like a game of horse.
Yeah, that's just dumb, dude.
Being trans is like a game of horse. That could be the new Veritas Road quote. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Hey, well, good for Florida for doing this. Florida's just really ramping up their
I
game.
mean, here's the thing. I don't think anybody's gonna about a lady going into the men's room. But if you have a dick, stay out of the women's room. It's uncomfortable. I thought we were done with this bull. Like,
oh, dude, if
I haven't heard anything about this in like a year now. And I can't believe that it's still going on. Just stop it. It's not that hard. I don't know why taking a piss is that important to these people. I don't understand. But just stop it.
Yeah, plus that's pretty like if this was happening in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, that's one thing because they're liberal bastions. But I
This
mean,
is Tallahassee.
Tallahassee is in redneck Florida,
Yeah.
right? I mean that's
mullet
you
Florida.
are asking to get your dick chopped off, and
Which I mean, maybe
if they want to be trans, hey, you know what?
maybe the goal was
You
to
know
just
what?
get a free operation.
You know what? If you go into a woman's bathroom, you got to chop your dick off. That's the price of entry.
Yeah, that's what. Right.
Yeah. So that's what should happen to
That's
this guy.
what makes logical sense.
Yeah. That's insane, dude. Yeah, I can't believe that's still going on.
People walking around with cocks trying to use the women's restroom.
You know, if there
Stop it.
If I had like a 10-year-old daughter or whatever, and she had to go pee at like the library, right? I don't know why we'd be at the library, but this is
I don't know why you'd be peeing at the library. I avoid the library bathrooms.
or whatever, or if she was whatever, or if she was at like for some reason she was at the Florida on a field trip or whatever. And there was just some long-haired, creepy guy in a dress who claimed he was a woman, and he was like 55. You know, I would be like, and that thing was in the bathroom with my daughter.
Get the out
I'd
of
be
there.
like, here's my judge. We're gonna alternate between 45 and 410. Get the hell out of my.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It's insane. It is insane. And the biggest problem with that is I'm sure there are probably some perfectly benign people who would just go in there to take a piss and leave. I would imagine that's the case. But there are a bunch of fucking creeps out there. All
Well,
right?
that's-
There have got to be some hard and fast rules that keep those sons of out. And part of it needs to be, if you've got a dick, don't go in there.
Yeah. All right. Two things there. Okay. Number one, why would you not go to the men's bathroom?
Because you're a woman.
Well, no, you're not a woman. You got a dick.
You've claimed to be a woman. You're a woman.
That's
So you
not
wanna
how
go to
it
the women's
works.
bathroom.
That's not how
It
works.
affirms my gender identity. I'm
You-
going to the women's bathroom.
Only God. You have to take that up with God.
I'm just saying.
All right,
That's the point they're going to make.
Number two. Well, that's ludicrous. Like,
I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just telling you that's the point.
like, has this stuff gone to the courts? Surely the courts haven't ruled in favor of that.
Well, not in Florida.
Secondly, okay, don't they have like a family bathroom that's just like a third bathroom that's just got a toilet in it?
It's just got a question mark and
Right.
just go in there.
Well, literally at Kroger, you've got your like men, your women's, and you've got this big bathroom in the middle for like handicapped people.
And like people who need to go change
Right,
their
yeah.
kid or whatever. Yeah, they
Just
do.
go into that one then.
But not everywhere has those, for one. And for two, like those, I think people try to reserve those for either handicapped people or like mom needs to go in there with like 3 of her kids, to change the baby, and she doesn't want her
Well-
8-year-old and her 6-year-old standing outside, where just, they could run off or interact with whoever. That's what those are generally used for.
Well, if you're a man wearing a dress, you're pretty handicapped. You're mentally handicapped. You are at a disadvantage in this world, and you probably had severe trauma growing up. So,
And that is probably true. But I thought we were past this bull.
Well, we are. MSNBC's got to constantly bring it up, though, to make it seem like it's still a thing. Like 95% of all of America think that that's ridiculous. And
Right.
So it's just to get people drummed up. It's your blue-haired liberals chanting in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's all a part of divide and conquer strategy by our friends at the CIA, who might come up later in this podcast.
Oh.
Teaser.
Let's move on. What you got?
My third and final article. This is insane, dude. Just think about how insane this is when we pull this headline up.
Okay. Washington Times. In Qtel, the CIA's venture capital arm reaches 800th investment. What the
So they're just blatantly tell us, okay, the CIA, which is a branch of which is an arm of the executive branch of the federal government, has 800 different venture capital investments. That's fun.
What in the world?
It's literally, they're telling us in the open. You think anybody's ever looked at that list of 800?
No. Surely not.
This is insanity, dude. They're just straight up telling us the CIA funds random crap we have no idea.
Hundreds are kept secret due to national security concerns. Holy sh**.
They're straight up telling us, hey, you know all this, let's just say these random ads that we see on YouTube. NordVPN.
That could be
a CIA.
CIA op.
Yeah. And we would have no idea. They're straight up telling, and this is what they're saying on the news. Lord knows how many it actually is.
Yeah.
And it's just, and people just look at that and be like, oh, good for the CIA. They're getting involved in the stock market. That's what the baby boomer would read.
Genuinely dumbfounded.
Yeah. So who knows what the CIA funds? According to, this article, it's 800 different crap, but it's probably way more than that.
That's
I mean, they openly talk. I mean, do you think Operation Mockingbird is ended? This is just this is just like a purple Skittle compared to a red Skittle. It's the same dang thing. This is Operation Mockingbird just in 2025.
What does that say, John? Formed in
September 29th, 1999.
This is, according to Wikipedia, been in existence for 26 years.
I'm just highlighting the month and the date for Robert because he'll find that interesting.
Yeah, that's a 9/11, boys. 9/11 of 99.
That's
boom,
insane.
boom, boom, and that
99's another 9 if you reduce that all the way.
I didn't. Yeah, 9 always reduces to 9. Any form of 9 reduces to 9. It's in Pythagorean. That logo looks pretty weird too, man. It looks like some kind of like atom star. It's weird, dude. Star David combo. It's weird.
This seems dark to me. I don't know. That seems real creepy.
It's because it freaking is. I mean, we all, even the mainstream admits the CIA runs drugs and are bad guys. I mean.
Yeah. And now there's all this nonsense about who is it, Cash Patel is supposed to go into the CIA and clean it up. I'm calling bull on that.
Yeah, Cash Stein Patelberg. What a joke, man. He looks like, dude, he looks like a freaking, like, ray gun scrambled his face. What the hell is wrong with his face? He can't make a normal face.
I haven't paid that much attention to him. I have, but it doesn't look that weird to me.
Oh, man, he should stick to his subways.
But, like, who believes that he's going to go in there and actually make the deep state forthcoming, honest, and pure? Like, what retard in their right mind thinks that's true?
Yeah, it's a joke, dude.
There's no way. There are going to be people walking around with the truth about the CIA folders. We're going to give some of those to influencers.
Yeah.
Read that along with your Epstein list. Parted.
It's just a joke, dude. And then, like, the line, I'm just reading this governance thing right here. Just the line between the private corporate world and the government is just, there's not even a line.
There's no line.
It's just the same thing. It's
Blurred
like
lines, Robin Thicke.
It's like the swamps of Dagobah. It's just swampy shit. Where's Trump's, it drained the swamp. It is a swamp,
Way
dude.
to pull a Star Wars reference out of your ass.
Well, I looked at this. Look, I looked at this super battle droid, and I was like, you know what? I haven't. Let's just throw a Star Wars in there.
Hey, Star Wars.
Apologize.
Star Wars is great.
Apologize for cussing and having to make John's work harder. Yeah, it's just a joke, man. It's just a joke.
That's insane. And there's a little nod to Q, I feel like, in there too.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, dude. Oh yeah, I bet 4chan is freaking be like, oh man, dude,
I bet
Trump's
it's going nuts.
Trump's got the CIA by the balls now. Yeah, that is a good point, dude. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's wild.
They
Yeah.
sold apparently 5,636 shares of Google in 2005.
What the hell?
So they were seemingly a founding shareholder of Google,
There you go.
which is crazy.
There you go. See that? I mean, it's just insane how people just gloss over this and just accept the programming that comes.
Hey,
from
they're keeping us safe, okay?
from literally everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, take. I know you like this guy. Take your boy Joe Rogan. All right, there's no way that a limited liability company that he controls, or at least partially controls, does not have the rights to his podcast. Who do you think is invested in that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
They've
for
got
sure.
their hands everywhere in every medium you can imagine.
If you're that big, you're probably into some up somewhere, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, there's no way you can get Trump on without being like, making a Faustian deal. But
That was a great interview, though.
it was hilarious.
No, the best one was the J.D. Vance interview on Tim Dillon's show. That was amazing. Highly recommend people watch that. It's great. It's a good time.
Yeah, so I just saw that and I just literally couldn't believe they were just saying it in the open.
Yeah.
Open.
that is insane.
Project Mockingbird has never died. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, the CIA, like in the 70s, openly said, "Oh yeah, we have newscasters. We pay them to be working for the news. We
Yeah.
pay them to write articles." I mean, what's his name? Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
He
That's what I was thinking
openly
of.
says he was in the CIA. Oh, but it was
Right.
just a summer internship.
And he just happens to be related to the Vanderbilts. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
weird.
Yeah, his mother was Gloria Vanderbilt, one of the
It's not weird.
legendary families of America who owned like 500 Gilded Age mansions in the time of
Yeah.
the reset. There's nothing weird about that
It's
at all.
not weird at all. Don't you dare question it. You
Yeah. So,
son of that floored me, honestly. The fact that that's out there and in the open. I don't know why that scares me so much more than when it's secret. I guess it's just the way some of these organizations seem to be emboldened right now makes me uncomfortable. It would make me feel better if it's like the way I'm a lot of times a lot more comfortable with blatant criminal, like not blatant, but like people who try to be secretive about their criminal activity than people who just do it out in the open. It represents some level of like shame and acknowledgement that like you should at least try to hide that kind of behavior.
Well, hey,
But this is like, hey, let's just let them know.
Yeah, that's a great point, dude. Like, obviously, like a serial killer versus the mob, who's got way more respect and honor. The freaking mob.
Yeah,
Like, or the
exactly.
cartels.
Right.
Because they're just like, yeah, we're gonna kill you if you mess with us. Versus, cowardly attacking people in the night based on vulnerability. So that's a super good point.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily relate to this. This is just mockery of us, dude. This is just be like, yeah, we're doing this. Y'all are too stupid to do anything about it.
Well, it's that, and I guess kind of to that point, it's just a blatant disregard for the people it potentially affects. It's just complete disregard for those folks.
Yeah. Well, and also it's like, something that happened recently is like they released all these JFK files, and we're just like, we're just going to openly admit that we lied to you. And it's like, we're just telling you. It's
There
like
you go.
We straight up lied to you, spent millions upon millions of dollars after he was killed in this just sham investigation. It's all bullshit. Here you go. There's no consequences. There's nothing.
You think those are actually honest, though? You think the JFK? I haven't read them yet.
I haven't either, but it's like, it's just a new government narrative just to control what the discussion is.
Well, why'd it take so
wouldn't believe
damn long to
anything
put
that
that out, too? Like,
Look, not to go off on a
Some
JFK
nonsense.
tangent, but the whole thing's a joke anyway. The Zapruder film didn't come out till like 7 years after the thing happened.
it's supposedly been sitting on it for all that amount of time.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even know what the heck happened. He might not even died. How can you even trust that film?
Sure.
I don't even know. Did JFK even die? We don't know. How does anyone even know that? And there's a whole group of people who say Q is JFK Jr. and that Jimmy Carter was JFK. We don't freaking know.
Jeez.
We don't freaking know. And there's a million different theories as to who killed him. You've got the mob. You've got Russia. You've got Cuba. You've got the bankers.
CIA.
You've got Israel. I think I haven't looked at the files that Trump released, but allegedly they implicate Israel, and
That's what I've been hearing.
and Ben
yeah.
Shapiro was like, "Oh, who cares? It was like 50 years ago." You know, it was like, really?
Of course he was.
You don't care that a president of the United States was murdered? You don't want to know who was behind it? Like, where's your patriotism now, you little Stein? But that's beside the point. Screw you, Ben Shapiro.
That's a good point. I'd love to argue with you, but that's a good point. Oh my gosh.
It's just a joke.
Yeah, that's insane. That is, wow. Mm.
Yeah, so that was my last article. Just crap on the news that, it's there to get you riled up. It's always interesting. Look
just
at
there to
what are
piss
all
you off.
these, John? Are these different?
These are the
companies?
corporations.
Good
like
Lord,
different
dude.
companies,
Software
that they've
companies.
invested in, man. It's
That is
freaking
just
crazy.
And each one of these companies probably invested in like 20 different other
Yeah.
things.
Right.
Software, it keeps going. Infrastructure projects.
Related personnel. What the?
Data-
Oh, I guess that's people
People
related to
who
the
have been,
article. Never
like,
mind. That's not.
people who have been like, I guess, involved in like this company's government.
And I'm
governance.
sure you can follow each one of these people into a spider conglomeration of a never-ending madness. Like it's just like so thick with corruption at this point. Like I don't.
Yeah.
You don't even know. You just have to walk away from it. Like I don't know if you've ever seen James Corbett's 9/11 video about like just the gigantic web
Yeah, I've
of
seen a little bit
all
of it.
the interconnected things. You can multiply that by 10 million when it comes to, because 9/11 was one event. Like you string anything, like any kind of plan together, any kind of like push over 10, 20 years, all these, it's just a never-ending web of madness. I don't even know how you
Yeah.
even begin.
Well, this is the problem with, I guess, following rabbit holes too deep or trying to track the whole spider web. Like, there's too much. There's too much. And it seems to drive people into social isolation and borderline madness when they try to go that far.
Well,
I don't know what a reasonable response would be, but
I would say to
I don't
that
know.
is if you're turning every single direction, like think about a spider web, right? It's kind of like a maze. It has so many, if you're just like on top of a spider web and you're just following the little lines, it has so many different directions you can turn. You just get turned around,
Yeah.
wandering aimlessly. But if you know you have to go to the center, the source, the spider, then you kind of have an idea of what you're looking for or what the direction is or what the source is, right? It's kind of the same thing with this. If you know where all this stuff is coming from, you're not going to get it's going to be harder for you to get lost because you know what the source is. And that's kind of what it comes down to for me is the pointlessness of running through all these different X, Y, and Z is what it wants you to do, get distracted by this, get distracted by that. But if you know where it's coming from, you know what your enemy is, and you stay grounded.
I guess. But a lot of the people I talk to, like, they just seem to be slowly losing their minds. And I don't know if that's beneficial. I think they're better off than just, sucking on the cock of CNN, but I don't know if following every trail of breadcrumbs, every rabbit hole, like some folks are wanting to do, is beneficial either.
No, if you do that, it's got to be, like I said, you got to have the meta picture in your mind. Like you have to recognize when it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Oh, and most stuff is, dude. If it doesn't lead you back to, really important questions that you have to answer. Like, because all this stuff is varying levels of distraction. In reality, like this kind of stuff right here that we were just looking at, like looking into all the subsidiary companies of this NQTel or everything they've invested in.
Yeah.
In a way, that's no different than memorizing all the stats of the Atlanta Braves for the 1998 season.
Honestly, yeah. It's
Like it's
not
just a way.
dissimilar.
It's just a way that the system gives to different people to distract them from their own journey here and their own identity and their own blah blah blah. Now that doesn't
Fair
make
point. And there's a weird like status element to it too for some of these people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, do you know about this? No, you know about that? Well, let me tell you. I'm
Yeah.
awesome. I'm cool. I'm hot.
Well, I mean, it's
Alright,
just
great for you.
another way to. It's just another level of controlled opposition. Like people who may be like to notice this stuff, you probably do have to be a little bit higher in intelligence, a little bit higher in vibration, but they'll let you go to that point as long as you're still not they'll let you go a little. To use your example, they're trying not to get you to Milwaukee, but they'll know that you want to go to Milwaukee. Well, they'll let you go a little farther if they can just get you off of this road, to
Fair
keep
point.
you from the main center thing,
Yeah.
Which, if anybody who's watched Westworld, the center of the maze, it's kind of that same idea. They want anything. They'll do anything to keep you from discovering who you are, basically.
Ugh. All right. Well, that ended more heavily than I thought it would.
You started down that line.
I did. That last article me up. That was it's freaky.
That was literally just randomly thrown out there, like 40 things down on Drudge. Oh, by the way, the CIA's invested in 800 companies.
Oh my gosh.
Good for them.
Well, Drudge's website is weird anyway. I don't like their website at all. Oh, all right. Anything else before we wrap this son of a?
Was that all yours?
Yeah, that was all mine this week.
Yeah, we'll try to get back to some more topical stuff. I'm not gonna make any promises in the future.
Yeah. We'll be posting more often at some point. We're dealing with technology stuff and just schedules that suck dick right now, guys. So sorry.
We'll
there's
at
not
least
much of it.
we'll at least every 2 weeks be covering what's been going on in the news for
Yeah.
sure. But
For sure.
we've got some Revelation 20 discussion hopefully coming down the line. So I guess that's all I got to say.
Yeah. All right. Catch you guys next time.
Yeah. Also, real quick.
Son of a.
Oh.
Well, no, just checking in.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Checking in on Tuesdays as we try to do some more.
Oh,
live
yeah,
shows
we'll
as
be
well.
doing those more
Plug
often as
those.
well. Touched Me Tuesdays, where we talk about things that touched me, and it's also Tuesday. I don't know if we'll do one this week, but for sure next week.
Yeah, keeping with the sexual deviant theme, I'll eventually have fill you up Fridays.
It's not sexually deviant. I'm talking about things that touch me, and I might be able to touch you too.
Sure.
It's not sexual. All right, love you guys.